Hey, it's Dr. Trish Leigh from the Neurofeedback Expert Program. We're back to talk about brain shift programs. I named the programs brain shift because they're based upon neuroplasticity. So what we want to do within our neurofeedback program is shift a person's brain pattern from a negative brain pattern that is causing them problems, their symptoms, their struggles, and their suffering. We want to change that negative brain pattern to a positive brain pattern for lasting change of no symptoms, feeling better, and performing better. So it's all based upon how the brain works. So in previous videos, I told you to be a neurofeedback expert, you don't have to know everything about everything in neurofeedback and business. What you do need to know is some very specific knowledge base and how to communicate that to people so that you can be confident as a neurofeedback expert and be able to help people through an awesome program and that gets them better faster. So the idea is one of those nuggets that you need to know for sure is how the brain works and how the brain changes. So to give you a soundbite on how the brain works, the first idea is that brains have speeds. And I've already covered that in some of the previous videos. But basically, brains have different processing speeds from extra slow to extra fast. And they can get jammed in one of those gears. And our job is to change the pattern to unjam those gears. And you can look back in the previous videos if you want greater explanation there. But what we want to talk about right now is operant conditioning. This is how neurofeedback has been proven through science to create lasting changes. And actually the newest study, which is called a meta-analysis, which means that this study, researchers looked at many neurofeedback studies that have been done over time and looked at the effects on how people were able to attend and how calm they were able to feel in their mind and their body. And what this study showed, which I think is totally awesome, is that there were medium effects, which is good, medium effects right at the end of a program. And actually the programs that these studies looked at were not a one-year program. They were short programs of 50 sessions or so. I think they were actually from like 30 to 50 sessions. And what it showed is when people were done with their sessions in a fairly condensed time frame, that they had a medium effect size. But at follow-up, up to a year and more later, they had a large effect size. That means that when we changed the brain pattern, it actually was getting even better as time went on. And if you hear me speak ever, you'll know I always say it takes training and time to change the way that a brain works. And this is how it works. This is how operant conditioning works. If a person's brain map shows they have ADHD and anxiety, that's a negative brain pattern. It's causing their symptoms. Now we know it on the QEEG brain map. Now we know what we need to do. So when we use neurofeedback to increase perfect processing speed and decrease those fast and slow speeds that are causing the problem, we're basically creating a new, better brain pattern. So when a person has a negative brain pattern, they have negative behaviors. So let's say that the negative behaviors in anxiety are you feel stressed out, you feel very anxious, you're not able to stay calm and relaxed. That gets you negative outcomes. Many people in my office aren't able to go out for dinner, they're not able to go to the mall, they're not able to do the things that they enjoy. So then that's a negative outcome. Hebb's law, a scientific law, says that a negative brain pattern gets you negative behaviors, negative outcomes. It goes back and it hardwires in the negative brain pattern. So basically the brain pattern that you use is being hardwired in every time you use it. That's why brain patterns get worse over time. People don't grow out of negative brain patterns of ADHD and anxiety. They get worse. So the beauty of neurofeedback is it breaks that pattern by instilling a new, better brain pattern, which gets a person new, better behaviors. So in the case of anxiety, you feel less anxious, and now you're able to engage in activities that you love. Actually, a woman in my office last week said she was able to take her daughter out to the state fair that she would not have been able to do without neurofeedback training. That made her feel awesome. She was able to have a day with her daughter. That was a positive behavior that got her a positive outcome, a lovely day with her daughter, which helped bond them and they had a great time. That goes back using Hebb's Law, and it hardwires in the new, better brain pattern that we're creating. Every time she uses that new, better pattern, it's getting locked in. So the key to success is having people use that pattern as often as possible. So this is how operant conditioning works for lasting change. We use these brain shift programs to shift the brain into a better place, get that flywheel in place using operant conditioning so that people can get even better over time. So the brain shift programs that we use in the Neurofeedback Expert program are small, medium, and large programs, and they're based upon a person's brain map. So when we see the brain map, if there's a lot of work, they need a larger program. And sometimes this can involve home neurofeedback, because usually if there's a brain map that shows a lot of work, being able to change this pattern on a daily basis really helps people. Home neurofeedback can be clutch for those people. But we're able to make the recommendation confidently as a neurofeedback expert based upon the brain map using these systematized programs that we're still able to individualize for people. So it's really important to use these brain shift programs over a year, time and training. And we adjust the frequency and we can manage the frequency based upon a person's needs. So it's really, really important. It's designed to give the person a great experience. So I tell people when they join me in the office, think today how you would like to feel and perform 1 year from now. So that gets it in their mind. This program is a year long. But at the same time, they're going to feel and perform better way earlier than a year from now. So they're really excited when that happens. They're not looking for changes in a 20-session program. Many neurofeedback practitioners out there recommend 20 or 40 sessions arbitrarily. They don't know how to do it based upon a brain map. And then when a person comes back in 20 or 40 sessions later, they recommend another 20 or 40 sessions arbitrarily. People don't feel good about that. That does not provide a great experience. When you know how many to recommend and you actually achieve the outcomes in that number of sessions over time, life is good for you and life is good for your patients. That's why these programs are so important. And if you join us in the Neurofeedback Expert program, I'll give you those programs and show you how to implement them. They are proven to work and they're based upon neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change over time when it's pushed to do so properly using neurofeedback. Okay, so why do we use these programs? Because we need to close the gap for people. In a previous slide, I showed you that we have to highlight and illuminate the gap for people. And then we have to watch that gap close through neurofeedback training, which is so awesome. So where a person was and where that person's full potential is. And as their brain starts to change over the year, they get closer to that full potential. And it's very, very exciting. Also, as part of our brain shift programs, we have maintenance programs in the second year. So a person joins us for either quarterly care or monthly care typically, but we can also use the data from their trend graphs in their neurofeedback sessions to be able to tell how much more work there might be after a program if a person hasn't gotten all the way that we would like to see them get. So we can use that information to make recommendations for a second year of care, but typically it's only a maintenance program. Okay, so stay with me for the next video on a proven pricing model that works. And don't forget to like and subscribe below so that you can join me so I can give you more education, inspiration, and empowerment to change brains, improve lives, and make money doing it because people in your community need it. So stay tuned.